Hello, this is Michał Olszewski and Arek Hajduk from Zapytaj VC, your favorite channel about VCs and startups from the CEE. And yes, you probably saw our previous episodes when we interviewed VCs from Czechia and Lithuania. Today we travel down south to the country which you probably associate with golden sands, Black Sea, and stuff like that. This is Bulgaria, but we're not interested in tourism this time. We're only about startups and VCs. So, Arek, tell us what we know about the Bulgarian ecosystem.
So we will learn more from the interview with our guest, but we know some notable startups. In Bulgaria, they have officially one unicorn, Payhawk, which is a fintech company. But other startups here on the slides are close to this to the successful mark. Maybe not in terms of valuation, but in terms of exits, for example. You can see Telerik, Leanplum. All those companies were acquired, and SiteGround is a bootstrap company that is close to unicorn valuation unofficially. There are also around 15, 20 active venture funds, and one of them is Innovation Capital. And usually when we mark the fund in green, that means that there is a special reason. And the special reason is that our guest is Angel Angelov, who is a managing partner in Innovation Capital and partner in Odyssey Ventures, and he will tell us, the difference between those two funds. And important bit, this is it's Angel, not Angel, although it's natural in venture capital world.
Yes, and I know Angel personally from my job in Funding Box. We did a project together in the past. His fund was involved in a cross-border accelerator called Beyond, and I think Angel will reference that a little bit during our chat.
Yes, so we invite you to listen to our talk with Angel about Bulgarian startups and ecosystem.
But before we switch there, just one more thing, important info about our channel. We are massively successful and we have just secured our first commercial partnership. And this partnership is visible on the screen now. We work together with Nikalab. Nikalab produces supplements. If you order them through this QR code displayed on the screen, we will get a nice commission. So support us in that way. Or if you prefer to support us directly, you can buy us a coffee scanning the other QR code that you see now on the screen. That's it.
Hi, guys, and thank you for the invitation. First of all, I'm a Bulgarian citizen. Been around the Bulgarian startup ecosystem and the venture capital ecosystem since 2015. My journey as a financier started in 2008 in the US. I started working on Wall Street. Then the big financial crisis happened, and I returned to Eastern Europe, which was very lucky since I entered into the M&A business with Deloitte. Did a little bit of investment banking, then set up my own fundraising shop in 2015. Started investing as a business angel. Started also doing some acceleration for an organization that I created. Then in 2019, started with Innovation Capital, investing in Bulgarian startups. With Innovation Capital, we were the most active Southeast European venture capital manager with 180 companies in the portfolio. Agnostically
invested. That's super large amount. Like I didn't expect it.
Yeah, a lot of people get surprised when I give them the number. So it was a very hectic 4.5 years. The mandates ended in 2023. And we entered into fundraising mode. Now we're preparing our second fund, which is going to be pre-seed and seed, a little bit bigger in terms of numbers and also smaller in terms of number of deals. So the focus will be again Bulgaria and Eastern Europe. And in 2024, beginning of 2025, actually. we kicked off our side gig, which is called Odyssey Ventures. And Odyssey Ventures is a private syndicate for later stage and international deals in AI, robotics, health, and fintech. So with this organization, we do deal by deal syndications with investments in companies of the likes of SpaceX, OpenAI, XAI, Delivers AI, and a few other companies. So we're quite new on that entity yet, and the results are very, very good. So we're happy to have that opportunity for business angels and family offices in mostly in Eastern European investment communities. Yeah, so quite active on pre-seed and seed with the institutional fund, and also quite interested in tech investments in Europe and the US as well, with the syndicate. So I think with this, it's a short overview of what I can bring to the table in this conversation. So yeah, shoot the question, guys.
It's kind of impressive, really, like considering the numbers and the multiple hats that you're wearing. I think that the name helps you to kickstart this whole thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, but
thank you, Mom and Dad.
Okay, but you are, as you said, you're Bulgarian, operating out of Bulgaria, and you're like, what can you say about the whole? Because we know nothing in Poland about Bulgarian ecosystem. I think that there are no experts. No one is really filled into what's the status of the Bulgarian ecosystem. And can you be our guide today and tell us something about it?
I'll try. Okay, so as I told you, I mentioned a few dates there in the intro. 2015 was when I entered the ecosystem. Before that, I was more exposed on the M&A side, doing predominantly deals in Southeast Europe and Central East Europe, to be honest. But 2015 was a year that's almost, you can say that the ecosystem, the VC ecosystem, has already been born. I believe the first venture capital fund was set up in the mid 2000s, and not that much activity happened until 2011, 2012, 2013, when the first 4 venture capital funds were born. They were set up with the help of the Jeremy program and the EIF. And we had the first venture capital institutional investors quite active on the market, with hundreds of investments that they covered in pre-seed, all the way from pre-seed to Series A. And then my appearance, and I can basically be a first-hand guide ever since 2015 to give you an overview. So as I told you, like 12, 13 years ago, there was almost no activity, and then a lot of activity all of a sudden, because of like most European and Eastern European countries. That was the time when European funds started plowing money into the ecosystems and to the economies. So a lot of people found out what this it's all about, to create a startup and to be an entrepreneur. What is to go to different conferences, meet co-founders or meet investors, pitch, and get your first rounds in, and then get the first exits out. So we so far have around 500 active startups, out of which probably 350, 400 are backed by companies or investors that are using some kind of government funding. So government funding, European funding, is quite quite a significant portion of the venture funding in Bulgaria. And
so it started with public funding, as you said, and it still continues like that, right?
It still continues. Now the EAF is also one of the most active LPs, but we also have the local fund of funds, which is similar to the Polish fund of funds. I believe that was the first one in Eastern Europe. Then we had our local fund of funds, which is called the Fund Manager of Financial Instruments in Bulgaria. This is also government backed, and also European money. They're operating with European money. They selected in the first cohort in 2020, 2019, 2020. We are actually part of it with Innovation Capital for fund managers. Now there is going to be another round of fund manager selection. Actually, we also are selected for the second time now, and this is going to be another 6 or 7 at least fund managers that will start operating. Those would be mostly fund managers that are second-time funds. And there is one first-time fund manager that kicked off actually last month that are doing mostly growth stage tech deals. And yeah, so far we have around 15, I would say between 15 and 20 active VC investors. Some of them are private money, but most of the funds, as I told you, and most of the companies that are backed by VC funds that are operating with European funds. The total invested amount is probably somewhere around somewhere between 300 and 500 million. With the new programs in the next 3 to 4 years, around $500 million is supposed to be deployed into Bulgarian ecosystem. And this is supposed to, of course, unleash some kind of a private funds from family offices, people that has already done exits. We're still expecting to see the other institutional investors, pension funds to back up VCs. This is still not the case because of some regulatory issues that are stopping them to do so. But yeah, we're working hard to get them on board, and maybe to spend 2 to 5% of their total portfolios for venture capital. This is gonna open up a lot of opportunities to raise more funds and to raise other private capital.
It sounds
which is sitting.
It sounds awfully similar to the Polish situation, I would say.
I believe so. Yeah, most Eastern European countries are basically following similar tracks. I believe Hungary had a little bit of a different path with a lot of funds at the beginning, a lot of money, but not so many successful companies, and they changed a little bit, I believe. But Poland is, I believe you guys have 50 investors, 50 venture capital funds, which is probably 3 times as much as we have. Of course, your ecosystem is much bigger, and the economy is bigger.
More people, right?
Yeah, we have 7 million people, so we're a small part of the Eastern European economy in general.
But Angel, you said about regulatory issues and the ones that are stopping the private investments. Is it about incentives, or is it about this is not attractive and this is forbidden for some reasons?
Well, it's a very complex issue. There is no incentives at the moment for business angels and for family offices to deploy capital into. There is no tax incentives or anything. So we are participating in different groups, working with the government, lobbying for such incentives to happen. There has been a lot of discussions and a lot of draft papers that are circling around. Unfortunately, nothing has been voted yet, and VC and startups are very, very small part of the economy here. So the public
no one cares.
No one cares that much. It's just as I told you, like 15 venture capital funds and 400 startups. So those are like a few thousand maybe startups and venture capitalists that care.
Not many votes, right?
Not that many voters. Yeah.
You want to win elections with that, right?
Of course not. Yeah, but yeah, I think that incentives is one thing. The other thing is regulatory frameworks that are hard to break, especially for the pension funds. That has been going on. We have our own Bulgarian Venture Capital Association, and also we have a startup association called BESCO. They're the ones that are really like pushing hard in order that these regulatory issues are solved, and also the connection between business, startup, venture capital, and the government on the other side is quite smooth. So, we're trying hard. It's not easy, but of course, nothing is easy. So we can expect to have miracles there. But yeah, hopefully it's just years away or maybe months away from pension funds being able to deploy even 1% of their total holdings. Also, we have a huge deposit base, like 150 billion is being kept in banks by individuals. So that's also another very good source for venture capitalists to source their LPs. Unfortunately, yeah, it hasn't been that much of an attractive asset class or a popular asset class at all. First, yeah, the regulation, people could lose a lot of money, and just by participating in one or two deals. But then, if you create a diversified portfolio, participate as an LP in a fund, that's a completely different game. But yeah, we as I told you, like 12 or 13 years of a track record of the ecosystem is not enough to create that much of a interest in the retail sector. But on the other side, I can mention something very positive. Now we have sub-segments for in the stock exchange that is particularly dedicated towards startups and towards earlier stage companies, less ready to be publicly listed. And there is that second tier that you can basically go and list your company, gets the retail investors with very minimal requirements.
Okay,
even
so
reporting.
it's possible to have a successful IPO on Bulgarian stock
Very
exchange?
easy. Now it's very easy to get it, and retail investors are interested to participate. There are popular companies. For example, Dronomics did that. Dronomics is still a pre-seed, like in our way of thinking. It's with more than 50 million in investments, but they still are pre-revenue, or it used to be pre-revenue just a few months ago or a year ago. Now they're breaking some maybe first dollars in, but they've been developing their drone for like 10 years. It's a deep tech company, so that makes sense. But yeah, people are interested in companies like that are more let's say active on the news end, and they're trying to get their allocations in tech companies, and that's exactly what we do with Odyssey Ventures. We basically democratize the process for retail investors to participate in deals like SpaceX and OpenAI. So yeah, we're kind of like trying to be part of the movement in general.
Okay. When I was doing some research, I came across Startup Visa. You never mentioned it. Is it a part of the the whole regulatory environment?
Not yet. We I believe it's one of these initiatives that BESCO that I mentioned, the startup organization is taking care of. It was either voted or very close to being voted, but there has been many government switches over the past 3-4 years. So a little bit of political instability is not playing in favor of these types of regulations. But yeah, we do have that startup visa initiative, but it's not in place yet. I guess it's gonna take a few other months, but we're very close to implement meaningful way to incentivize other investors and other startups and entrepreneurs to come to Bulgaria and set up their own ventures.
Does it feel like there's a coordinated strategy for the innovation progress in Bulgaria, or it's random activity?
I believe there is some kind of organization there. The startup organization BESCO is they're quite well funded. Most of the funds are participating by donating time and resources. Maybe there are hundreds of companies that are their members, and I believe they have somewhere around 20-30 people already, or close to 20 people. I'm not sure exactly, but that are trying to build different bridges with the government institutions. That's basically their idea, like from the start, and that was like 6 or 7 years ago. They continued. They didn't pivot that much. They stayed on the track to create that bridge between the business and government institutions, and they're quite successful. As I told you, like on the voting side, we don't bring too much votes, so we're probably down the list with the priorities of most officials. But yeah, we're trying hard, and everyone is participating. I believe the vibe is quite okay. We don't have too many people to quarrel.
Super short question, if I can interrupt. I'm a kind of geography nerd, so this is like important to me. When you consider Bulgaria and your ecosystem, do you consider it like a part of the larger CE ecosystem, or there is like a Balkan ecosystem or Southeastern Europe? Where is the biggest pool comes from?
The closest ecosystems to Bulgaria are Romania and Greece. We do have very good connections with Turkey. We do like to go into Macedonia, but most of the interactions, like investors invest in Romania, invest in Turkey, or invest in Greece. And investors from Romania, Turkey, and Greece come to Bulgaria, or could potentially come to Bulgaria. Those are, most of the conferences happen like in Bucharest, in Sofia, in Athens. I think are the most active centers. Of course, Istanbul is, or Turkey is an economy on its own, and it's quite self-sufficient. But they're also looking into some Bulgarian companies to invest in. So I think South Balkans is probably what makes most sense to answer your question. Part of the whole CEE because we talked to Polish funds, we talked to Czech funds. We wanted to invest in a Czech company a few years ago. We are open to consider some Polish investee companies with our new fund. We were looking with Odyssey Ventures to deploy capital in a Polish sports tech company. So I think the entire Central Eastern European in Eastern European ecosystem need to be kind of more engaged and more oriented to work towards the greater good, because we have to have a stronger stance, a stronger position with Europe in general, in order to be competitive with the whole innovation movement going on in China and in the US. So yeah, definitely have to more ties in between the systems.
We will talk about it a bit later, but I would like to switch our attention to successes from Bulgaria, like unicorns, because our experience in Poland is that success is a magnet basically for others to follow, right? And as you say, we need to expand. Can you tell us about what's the story of Bulgarian successes, unicorns or otherwise?
Okay, so yeah, the bigger successes Probably we can date back to 2013 when Telerik was sold to Progress Group. For that time, it was a huge deal, $260 million or something. So yeah, that was the biggest exit at some point. But after that, maybe 5 or 6 years, the new funds coming in, and with the new cohorts, let's say, of founders, new cohorts of investors, the ecosystem grew really big. Like for 10 years, I believe that Bulgaria is like very well situated as a small economy. We're very well situated to be the leaders in the Southeast European end, alongside Greece, of course. So the successes, of course, we can mention the most obvious one, Payhawk. They're a fintech company. They were very much they benefited basically from the fintech bubble in 2022. They did 2 rounds of around 100 million, separated by a few months. So, and double the valuation. The first round was $500 million. The second one was at the unicorn status. Unannounced, but everyone was like, okay, clapping their hands and cheering for them.
I've read that they did the unicorn in less than 4 years from founding. So it's impressive speed, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know two of the founders, and they're very hard. Like the organization now is getting huge because like you have so much money that you have to scale the operations. They're mostly active in Europe, and also trying to make a splash in the US. On their side, of course, competition is fierce. So I know their revenues are growing, but not like quadrupling or doing 10x, of course not. So going slowly, yeah, of course, the valuation and the multiples were, unbelievable. No one could make sense out of it. But that was the fintech bubble in 2022, and their investors. Unfortunately, I'm not part of their investment journey, but their investors were happy to realize some partial exit, I believe, at that end. So very good for them. Then we can mention, of course, Alterco, or currently known as Shelly Group. Shelly has been IPO'd. I don't know how many years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. They also cross-listed themselves on the German stock exchange. And they also reached unicorn status a few months ago, although as a public company already. They're also backed by 1 or 2 VCs, local VCs, and I think their foundation is very stable. Their revenues are in the hundreds of millions, and their multiples are quite stable. They're doing relative to what the industry standards are. They're doing home automation, IoT stuff, so a lot of hardware, but also software stuff. They're selling very well, so apparently that's a very good success story. Another company that we can mention is SiteGround. It's a bootstrapped company. They're basically providing hosting services, and they're one of the top 5 hosting providers in the space in the world. They are also in the hundreds of millions of revenues and multiple billions in valuation. But that's a company that is private, and there is no benchmark because there is no round, or there is no nothing to announce, basically.
Good for them. Also,
yeah, right? Those companies. And also we had a crypto company that reached some unicorn status called Nexo at some points, because of when the crypto bubble was happening. They changed a lot afterwards. They had to stop actually operations. There were regulatory presses from the government, and at some point they had to close down and wind up. But they restarting now. So yeah, apparently there are a few companies that you can mention. Also, some very good companies such as Endurosat. They just raised around at 200 million valuation very recently. We, of course, worth to mention is the company called Robinhood. We have the Bulgarian co-founder on one of the co-founders of Robinhood is a Bulgarian.
Okay, so you're doing the same thing that many of Polish officials say, that they point out different American companies and saying, yes, there's a Polish founder there. It's Polish.
He's a Bulgarian founder, but he left Bulgaria in 2000. No,
Yes,
90 something.
OpenAI is basically Polish, right?
Well, yeah, I see. No, well, I'm just saying that we have some bright minds. I'm not just saying that they're a product of the
like common theme in those companies that could emerge as the next Bulgarian unicorns. There are is there any like vertical that it's really well represented? Some Bulgarian specialty?
Yeah, well, I would say maybe enterprise software has the greatest potential, as we have a lot of experts in that area. In B2B SaaS, I would say used to have a very good potential. Now, everything that has to do with building on top of AI, we don't have an LLM company to be bragging about, but anything that brings or adds value in the value chain of the infrastructure of AI is a potential very rapidly growing company. Of course, we could also mention some hardware companies. Dronamics and Endurosat are one of them, or two of them. Dronamics is also in the hundreds of millions of valuation already. Although, and they're working with DHL, they're working with, they're now spinning a second revenue stream with the dual use in the defense sector. They are invited to participate in the European Shield or European Wall or whatever it's called. So I believe they have some good potential out there. I think, yeah, hardware, although it sounds a little weird, but has good potential. In Bulgaria, we have, besides the software engineers and the software engineering capacity, I believe we have some talented engineers to work on the hardware stuff. Of course, these businesses require a lot more capital, so more focused efforts will need to be centered around these types of companies. But what else? We're not that far from any other ecosystem, like any type of AI fintechs. We have not worth mentioning is a company called MyPost. MyPost was recently acquired for nearly 600 million, and I believe that with they're close to $1 billion in revenue, with bonuses for for performance, I believe. But yeah, that's unofficial, so you can quote me on that, or that's something that
it will be
it's a speculation. It's a speculation, but this company has been acquired. It's a fintech company, so I think fintech also has some good potential here. But those are a few companies. You can't just be like, yeah, we have that fintech unicorn, so we're a fintech center or hub going forward. It requires a lot of effort on behalf of the team, the specifics of the knowledge of the founders. So, and also
you're mentioning several companies, and several verticals, and there's no specialty, but
I don't think so.
The people leaving successful companies, they often tend to create another startups. Do you see that also in Bulgaria, that there is some kind of, I don't know, Telerik mafia or PayHawk mafia, and it gives you new chances to invest in potentially successful companies?
Yeah, absolutely. we, for example, Payhawk is a product of the Telerik mafia. The founders, I believe, 2 or 3 of them even, they were part of the Telerik infrastructure at some point. And yeah, so you can definitely see that as a consequence. A lot of people were working for big outsourcing companies, big tech companies that are present in Bulgaria. For example, right after Telerik was acquired by Progress Group, they left. They let I don't know, like 30% of their managers, senior managers, and we saw like a lot of good companies coming out of this cohort of people leaving. So yeah, software engineers tend to create good businesses that are coming from a well-structured international organization. So this for sure happened. Now we see another startup that is coming from one of the not the co-founders but the senior people at MyPose. So very recent example that I can give you. This guy is doing something very, very curious. Like it's a stealth mode company. I don't want to say too much, but we're happy to consider it for our next portfolio. And these types of companies or these types of founders are the ones that are going to drive the ecosystem. Of course, that's what happens. I mean, that's why we invested in so many people with the first fund. 180 investment is a lot, but like we gave the opportunity for so many people to start to see what a startup is, and maybe with their second and third attempts, they will be successful. Some of the companies are still successful with the first fund. So that's a long-term investment, long-term investment in the people, long-term investment in the economy.
Okay, perfect. I will switch to another topic because I'm dying to hear about those 180 companies, 1 company per week investment strategy. But first I would like to ask you about the connection with you mentioned Polish startups, right? That you even considered investment in that. What could be the way those ecosystems will work more? Because I think that's like a minor minor use of potential right now. And my guess is that there are some hidden gems in Bulgaria looking for some capital, and for you getting into the larger market, it's also potentially interested. What can happen with this cooperation?
Any cross-border opportunities?
Yeah, cross-border investments. Me and Michal are big proponents of that. We participated in a project for cross-border investments in the past, and it's a really, really necessary thing to bring to Europe. Yeah, I'm not saying that we're not doing anything. On the contrary, we have the conferences. So I believe that a lot of people movement there, and I've been to a couple of Polish conferences. I see a lot of Polish interested in Bulgaria. Many invested so far, but it will happen. I'm sure that it will happen. What needs to break is probably the chain of the regulatory stipulations. For example, our next fund will be only investing in companies that has something to do with Bulgaria. That makes sense. Of course, the funds are coming from the Bulgarian fund of funds. Predominantly, we have some private funding as well, but the mandate is basically for Bulgarian companies. Of course, we're gonna make the case international companies to come over and hire some Bulgarian people, so that is acceptable to even invite Polish companies. But the mandates are quite narrow-minded. We need to open up the policies on one side. What is already been doing is great.
This is the same thing as we observe it on the Polish market when there are multiple Polish funds that are backed by the PFR.
I know,
but they are limited in the possibilities to invest their capital outside of Poland. You see, you mentioned that this should be changed, right? It's a kind of an obstacle, right?
Hopefully. It is for sure. Hopefully this I've seen it with the first fund. We were very limited, like only Bulgarian. Now we have to have something in Bulgaria, and maybe with the third fund we'll have like 30% of our investment portfolio into Central Eastern European companies. So making it a little bit democratic for the fund manager and also for the performance of the fund. I mean, to be honest. So same thing happens with Poland. Like also mature, they also learn stuff. They see the examples, and that's one thing. But also conferences, media, podcasts. We need to be more open. Like I consume a lot of content, but most of the content is coming from the US. Makes sense, right? Most of the good examples that are there, but there's media companies like CheckCrunch or like CheckCrunch, not TechCrunch. I'm not sure if you have something big international. We have The Recursive, which is also trying to be European led, although there are Bulgarians in the co-founding team. And so
to everyone watching, subscribe to Zapytaj VC, right? This vlog, this podcast. This is the purpose of info about Polish market and the surrounding ones.
But Angel, it's funny what you said in a way that we all consume American content, right? But the conditions locally in and it makes sense because they are 50 years ahead of us probably. But sharing experiences in Poland, between Poland and Bulgaria, which have similar maybe there are some minor differences, but there is a similar stage of development. I would guess that that would be also beneficial, right?
Absolutely. Sharing and being able to promote our success stories, promote your success stories, promote the success stories of Estonia, the success stories of Slovenia, in Croatia, Greece. We have to be more supportive of each other. Be able to promote the success stories and to travel more. Not only us, the VCs, looking for co-investment opportunities, but also co-founders trying to explore opportunities to synergize with other startups and maybe work with other startups, maybe get acquired by other startups or acquire other startups.
Thinking specifically about Poland, do you have any relations, any maybe co-investments in mind, any VCs from Poland that you know about and would like to cooperate or already are cooperating?
I don't think I can quote any names to be very specific, but we have been in discussion with, let's say, 5 to 10 guys over the past 5 years in different stages, I believe
but it was related to deal flow, Angel. It was related
to deal flow.
Okay, so specific deals.
Mostly Polish investors looking into Bulgarian deal flow. So we're basically trying to scout some of our companies and some of the companies on the market for them. Also, I know that there are some limitations. For example, they would only have like 20% of their portfolio being able to be invested in outside of Poland. So these stipulations that I told you about, it's a little more difficult, but so the company needs to be really like a superstar in order for them to be considering. And of course, superstars are hard to get. So one superstar, you already have a lined up of many investors in any round that you're raising. So the cat and the mouse or the chicken. But I believe that we're establishing some kind of of course we can say a funding box which we participated with in the past for that cross-border project. I believe that the platform is for the Beyond program. I think this is a very good setup for cross-border investment with the platform. And in my view, what I'm mostly when I hear Polish startups, I hear a lot of startups in the medtech, health tech space. Most of the companies that I've seen, never invested in one, but most of the companies that I've seen are in that space. I'm sure that I know that you guys have a lot of good original institutes that are quite well positioned with innovation, and they're working well to create startups and incubators, VCs that are potentially looking to scout founders from these universities and institutes. So deep tech is what I know you guys are quite well positioned, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more, of course.
Okay, Angel. Sorry, Angel. See, this comes naturally. That your name is
That's
just too connected to venture capital. Sorry about that, Angel. Let's talk about the process of investing. In 180 startups in 4.5 years. That's in all. That's a huge number of startups. And I'm wondering, because you said we were one of few first funds that were selected, but fund funds, right? So were there enough startups for you to scout so huge numbers and look through and select 180 best ones? Because there is in my mind you would have to look at least through 2,000 startups to invest.
You're about right.
Okay.
That's about the right number, but out of these 2,000, of course, 100 and 1,500 probably were basically ideas. Most of them are like 80% of those are ideas without any effort behind. So you deal with like a good number of 300-400 maybe that you want to compete for good 50, and there is a little proportion of the investments that we basically the mandate itself is more social in terms of, so our main investor, the fund of funds, knows that we're not expected to return on some part of the fund because of that social aspect. We had to do a lot of names, a lot of companies in the portfolio in order to create that ecosystem, and we were very successful with that. Out of the 180, I believe that only 20-30 are dead as of the moment. So there's another 150 that expect something to happen. We already have 5 exits, so doing well on the number of exits there as well. And we have companies that are with the potential to return 10x. So that's what we aim, at least. Building the ecosystem was what was meant to be. It was a lot of work because being able to select, it was very hard to select the quality and to create quality. Actually, sometimes we were part of the idea generation process. We were almost doing incubation at some point because we find some good people that we know that are going to perform well, and we just polished the ideas with them. They were bouncing ideas with us before they even started. So that requires a lot of effort. And incubation, acceleration, we did acceleration for 4 years also. That requires a lot of effort, a lot of resources, and I believe that's where we really added value to the ecosystem, and that's why we're so well known in Bulgaria. Like, everyone comes to us when they start a new business. So like everyone's calling us like, I have that new idea, so tell me how much can I get from you guys. They know that we were very generous in terms of if the founder is quite well positioned or the idea was worth it, we're giving it a shot. But of course, those 180, probably 150 of those are anywhere between 25 and 50K. So small checks, so it all depends on their ability to deliver after that, to raise the next round.
But that was fast decision process. So, Okay, so those one
fast
meeting.
decision, but also there's a lot of admin stuff, like to close a deal. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to deal with the framework that we have from our LP. So yeah, it takes some admin stuff, admin resources on our ends, and we build that capacity as well.
Okay, but as far as I understood from your intro, when you're launching second fund, now you're changing a bit the strategy. So you're increasing the check size and you're lowering the number of investments. Is it because of the lessons from the first fund, or?
Well, the feedback that we gave to the LP, to the fund of funds, was that 180 is like a crazy number. You know, when you're giving those numbers to us, you know, we basically applied, but we knew that it was going to be hard. So everyone knew that anything north of 100 is probably too much. And now the largest fund will be 80 companies. Our funds is going to be just 50 companies with almost double the fund size. So when you compare the check sizes, you know, providing on average 100K, now the average ticket will be around 500K. So for pre, I think that's a good number to start off. The first check will be anywhere between 100 and 300K, and then follow-ons up to 1 million, but rarely north of 500. So yeah, the check sizes will be different, more meaningful, and of course, you know, these companies will have a lot more chance to compete on the market and to stay longer.
So how your process will now evolve? Because when you were making, you know, this speed decision or fast decision on an investment, now you will make longer considerations, or you will still move, you know, because the speed is sometimes it's a huge advantage for a VC, right?
It is. We currently with idea stage companies, so there's nothing to do due diligence on. Basically, you have a few conversations with the founder. If they provide the knowledge, or, you know, stay meaningful on the meetings and provide the relative examples and persuade us that they're the right people to lead the business, that's enough. From then on, it was the admin back end and the admin due diligence that was. But now the admin is going to stay the same, but just the number of deals will shrink by 4 or 4x.
Is it possible that you will make some like follow-ons into those companies that you already invested from the first fund, or this is out of the?
It's not completely out of the site, but we most likely won't be able to do so many, because, as I told you, with 30-40 companies that are doing quite well, we were not going to be able to support all 30-40, because they have to. There are certain requirements that we're going to be expecting them to bring in. We're not going to be the lead investor there. So if they come in with, let's say, a good lead investor, you know, the round is quite big, we could basically use our pro rata, but that's not going to be the case for most companies. You know, maybe a few, but not so many. So yeah, we're trying to see what we can do on the follow-on side.
You know, you mentioned there is around 15 funds in Bulgaria. Do you compete? Do you cooperate? Do you know, what do you do? You know, what's the status on the market? If I'm a startup in Bulgaria, I go to all 15?
No, because, you know, those are 15, or I think the number is 20, like 20, of which not as many are active, but 20 total number. Out of these 20, you have all at the same time 10 companies, 10 funds that are active, let's say. Yeah, in 2023, 2024, 2025, it was the drought period of the Bulgarian ecosystem. Less funds were operating, but now in 2026, it's going to be the other way around. So yes, we are in healthy competition, I think, but we're working with, let's say, 80% of the funds actively. We pass deals to each other. We co-invest with funds. We've invested almost with everyone on the market. That is quite active. So yeah, we're a small community. So there are different stages. There are 2 or 3 really pre-seed funds. But then there is a lot of seed stage funds, not so many Series A funds. Let's say we have one or two, maybe that can qualify as Series A funds. And growth stage or mezzanine or whatever, there's like one fund max, like, or a few deals that could happen. But yeah, the competition is more on the seed stage. Startups usually, once they have traction, they could pick which investors to work with. Sometimes we do co-investments, and they're happy to take both the money from both or two or three investors at the same time. The smart ones do so. The ones that are, some people decide we're not going to work with these guys, we're not going to work with that guys. Some guys are going to give me more added value than others. So that's all good. I mean, we can't be all you can eat buffet. I mean, we basically have our own strength in the network. We have our own knowledge and focus, of course. For example, we're going to be looking into health, AI, enterprise software, retail, fintech, robotics, but of course, everything good in terms of good quality founders. We will be open to. But yeah, some funds may have different strategy with a different approach, more brick and mortar, I guess.
Speaking about the different approach, the ODC Ventures, what's the idea here? How to understand it?
Yeah, ODC Ventures is not a fund. It's a syndicate, sort of an investment club. So we do club investments, deal by deal SPVs, mostly secondaries. So we participate in, or bigger rounds that we participate with a small amount. Usually the sizes, the checks are between 50K and $500,000, rarely above $500,000. We were never leads. We basically follow. We create a different SPV with different cap table. We have a group of 8 people that are partners with committed capital, and we have around 100 people that are in the list that could potentially co-invest in different.
Is it exclusively Bulgarian club, or you have members from different countries too?
We have members from the US, but those are me and my other managing partner, Krasimir's network, people from the network. We didn't, we're not meant to grow to a retail level. We want it small, but the
that's why I never received an invitation, right?
All right. If you want, we can talk, but for sure, we didn't want to basically. Of course, there is some regulatory issues that we have to be careful about, since it's not a fund. With the licensing and everything, we have certain limitations, to whom we can offer the investment opportunities. But those deals are not the same as like seed stage investments. For example, we are looking to participate in Series A's and Series B's in Eastern European companies with good potential to be American unicorns, and also we participate in late stage pre-IPO companies. For example, we did Klarna pre-IPO, and now Klarna went IPO. So we are still not liquidated there, but we at some point we will be able to do that. So yeah, that's the idea. Basically, going for a smaller number of X.
Funny thing you mentioned Klarna. It's another Polish unicorn, right?
There you go. See, I invested in Polish companies.
It's almost like there's the founder.
I heard
Polish founder.
The founder has some Polish ties, but that's it, right? Yeah, but it's.
I thought it's Swedish, but maybe it's my bad.
Yeah. Sometimes it's mentioned on list of Polish or nearly Polish unicorns. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's
no. But
everyone likes to be a part of someone's success. I think
it's
a universal thing. Okay, Arek, do you have anything else in mind to ask Angel?
Yeah, we have 3 questions to you, Angel. We always ask the same questions to our guest, and we're looking for a quick, top of your mind answers.
Fire answers.
Yeah, fire answers. The first one is pretty easy. what's your unique value as an investor? What's your UVP?
Why choose you?
Why you, and not only a fund, but as an Angel, as the guy.
Yeah. Fundraising and network.
Okay,
that's it basically.
Perfect.
Yeah. Add value to the portfolio companies with fundraising and network.
Okay, second quick question. We always ask investors about it, that the part of the story of a successful VC is the size of his or her anti-portfolio. So what are the most famous moments when you didn't invest in something that was really huge afterwards? Do you have any stories like that?
Yeah, that's my pain is I got them between Series B and Series C in 2015, 2016. At that time, they were scale up, but not so many people knew about them. I was their early client, and they were listed on Seedrs, and I was also playing around with Seedrs at that time. And unfortunately, I didn't have the capital or the opportunity to invest at that particular time, but it was part of the potential opportunities for me. So now it's more like 100x that I missed, I believe. So yeah,
it's impressive.
But yeah, that's yeah. Yes, that's not, it's not, it wasn't the founder getting to pitch to me as a business angel or as a venture investor, but I know Nick, like through we're connected on LinkedIn. Sometimes clap my hands and also cheer him up when they do a huge success. But yeah, Revolut, I'm a huge fan now. I got offered as Odyssey Venture partner to participate in some secondaries in Revolut, but now they're so expensive. They're like 60 billion. So yeah, probably gonna pass and wait for the next Revolut, I guess.
Good. Hopefully it will come from Bulgaria, so you can figure it out. Okay, the last question is not exactly the investment question, but it could be. What's one thing that you believe that it's not popular, that not many people believe in?
Okay. Not believe in the way to make money with tech private investments. So yeah, it's also my goal with my partner's goal, Odyssey Ventures, to democratize it and to make it well known that people can have access to that asset class and make 5x on their investment with a limited downside risk. So yeah, I mean, being able to make money, make more than 20% with investments like that. So that's outside of the investment community, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think in our bubble everybody believes in that, but you're right. Not many.
The whole story is outside.
We want to make it more open to retail investors, right?
Yeah.
Right, Angel. That's it. We are out of questions, and we're, I think, out of time. It's 1 hour that we spent chatting here about the Bulgarian ecosystem and your investments. So this is like that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope our viewers will like that episode and see also our previous ones and the future ones. There's gonna be great.
We'll do definitely. You guys are doing some very, very positive thing for the ecosystem for Poland, for Eastern Europe. So good luck to the show. Thank you for the invitation, and yeah, let's keep in touch.
Thank you, Angel.